Solo and Doc, welcome back in the studio with the great one, Michael Lynch, my co-pilot here. We also have quite a guest, a group of guests today. We have behind me lovely Lisha Martinez, our 24-year-old producer. You're 24 now, right? 23. 23 years old. All right, Eric.
She does.
Okay, we have
the town
the
idiot.
elephant. There's no, we have someone who needs karyotyped. Just Google it.
The Kensington Kid.
Kensington Kid, Eric Leonetti. We have delicious, delectable Tits Ramirez. Dimene Dre Ramirez. On the other chair, we have the one and only guest appearance, Bobby. Bobby, for those of you who don't know, Bobby is here. We always refer to Bobby. The real Bobby is actually in the studio today. We also have the Sullivan brothers, and I cannot wait to get into this segment. We have Casey Sullivan's in the studio today, and we're going to talk with him. This is a guy who's wildly successful in his music career. He's wildly dedicated to recovery, and he's got a wild story altogether. So I can't wait. I know who Casey is, but I've never actually met him until today. Michael, you know Casey.
Yeah, it's an honor to know the Sullivan family. I know the Sullivan family through Tyson, which is, you guys will see on the podcast coming up. But we had your brother Corey on here, and I wanted to get all of you guys, actually, because I was saying this to you earlier off camera, is you have this Irish family that is just riddled with addiction throughout the whole family. And you have 3 brothers, and they were all of you guys are addicts, all of you guys using. And in my experience, when you have a family that's with addiction, usually one may get clean and stay clean, maybe one. And then if there's 2 brothers, usually you find that the one struggles, that one stays clean. But in my experience, whenever there's 3 siblings, usually I see that one gets clean, one continues to use, and one dies. And you have 3 of you guys that not only are staying clean, but you guys have all built such successful lives in your own way, with your own journeys. So tell me, what do you do today?
What an intro. Thanks, Mike. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
It's definitely a miracle, all 3 of us, alive, sober, helping other people, finding success on our own paths. So, I'm Casey Sullivan, a.k.a. Casey Smiles. I'm a musician, dad, husband. I'm on the board for the Null Family Foundation.
What is that?
The Null Family Foundation is a foundation started by the members of Bradley Null's family to help musicians struggling with an opiate addiction. That was the beginning of the foundation, and it's grown into, going to music festivals all over and just creating a safe space for people to come if they're either high or sober, and just having a place where people can, come together and have like a safe space where they can hang out. And if somebody needs help, they have resources with my brothers or anybody else that can help to find help for them, so we don't have another musician die from an opiate addiction like Brad did.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, you guys must be living under a rock, but Bradley Knowles was the lead vocalist of Sublime. And,
correct.
And so you have a history with them, huh? Where they asked you to come on the foundation. What an honor that must be, right?
Absolutely.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I grew up, like, my brother was on here a couple weeks ago, right? Corey Sullivan, and I don't know, I was in 7th grade, and he handed me a Sublime tape when I was a kid, and it just changed my life. Like, it just completely changed the trajectory of my life, because I started playing guitar, I started singing, I wanted to be just like that, whatever that sound was and that lifestyle was, I was all in, So I started my own band, Seedless, in 2008, and we toured the nation. We played a ton with Stick Figure and Expendables and Revolution, Iration, a bunch of bands that are in a reggae, like really successful reggae bands now. And one night I was at a show, and a lady introduces herself to me, and she said, "You sound a lot like my brother. I think you guys are great." And I'm like, "Right on. Who's your brother?" And she's like, "Bradley Null." I'm like,
Yeah, that's a fucking compliment. Yeah.
What are you talking about,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Wow, nice to meet you,"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I've been following you guys for a while. Love you guys. My sons love you guys," and all that. So I was like, that was crazy,
Yeah.
And then
Shout out Kelly.
shout out Kelly Null. Love you, Kelly. Everything
Were you
you
an
do.
addict at the time, Casey?
What was that?
Were you an addict at the time or not?
Yeah, I would say alcoholic.
Okay.
Personally, I've definitely liked psychedelics. I'm more of the hippie of the family, you know. So addict, I wouldn't necessarily claim that, but I'm definitely claiming alcoholic. Yeah. But at that time, yes, I was actively drinking and using whatever I could find to change how I felt. Yeah. So at that time, yeah, we met, and then 2 years later, Kelly posts on Facebook that they're starting Bradley's house, and you know, just kind of like a, you know, just a quick post like Bradley's house is coming, and I'm like, rad, you know, that's cool. So I write her and I say, hey, if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. If we could play a cover set, or if, you know, whatever. And I figured she would never even see it, you know.
Yeah.
And within like 10 minutes, she writes me back like, this is amazing. This sounds great. Let's put something together. I'm like, cool, okay. So I reached out to a couple friends, Shay, with my drummer from Seedless, and Alex was, I grew up, he, you know, taught me how to play guitar, one of the best guitar players in Orange County. And Katie, my wife, was like a bluegrass singer-songwriter at the time, you know, and I'm like, I need a bass player. She's like, I could do it. I'm like, no, you can't, you know? I don't think you can do it, you know?
That's the way to back up your wife, you know what I mean? So she
love
learned
you,
because
man.
you said that.
I was like, I don't think you could, you know, I'm not sure. She's like, I could do it. I'm like, cool, let's try it out, you know? First practice, she just locks in. She literally sounds like Eric from some Big Bass Katie, Joe, love of my life. I love you. You're amazing. You proved it.
She only did it out of spite because you said you can't. She's like, this motherfucker.
She's like, I'll fucking show you. She proved. She absolutely proved it.
Can I try Drag? You can't suck my cock.
It works.
That's funny.
So anyway, we put a band together and we decided to call it Burritos, and we put on a show at the Slide Bar in Fullerton. And I
How
reached
long
out to,
ago was that?
That was 2017.
Okay.
2017.
Okay.
It might be 16, but I was drinking at the time.
Yeah.
So I was literally still drinking. I had not gotten sober yet. I just knew I wanted to be a part of helping people. I wanted to be a part of, selfishly, I wanted to be a part of playing sublime music, first of all, you know, to be selfish and to be an alcoholic about it. Yeah, I wanted to get on stage and play music. But then there was this other part of it that I really was drawn to, of helping people through this foundation as well. I knew I wanted to be a part of it. I knew that I didn't have a path leading down this alcoholic path for much longer. You know, my brother Tyson was, he was like softly putting in my ear about recovery and what he was doing. He wasn't promoting it to me. He was definitely, you know, just living it. You
Attraction
know,
rather than
attraction over
promotion.
promotion. He was attracting me towards recovery. You know, and he did a really good job at that, and I'll always remember that. And so anyway, we have this show, and she's like, hey, you know, Jacob, Brad's son, is going to come play a set, and Miguel is going to come play a set, and Corn Doggy Dog, and, you know, Brad's dad's going to be there, and it's going to be this whole big thing. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
this
no
is
pressure.
gnarly. Yeah, this is
no
gnarly.
pressure.
So, and you're going to headline, you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
this is crazy, you know? So we put on the event. We raised a bunch of money. You know, it was a killer event. So we're like, all right, you know, that was cool. It was just kind of like a one-time thing idea, like, let's raise some money for this foundation. And then it was just such a hit that, you know, a lot of the members of the family, and they're like, what's next, you know? So we just decided to keep going. And we put on another event at the Garden Amp in Garden Grove, and another one at Sea Legs, and another, you know, we just kept doing it and bringing more people and more people around, and raising more money and raising awareness. And that was really like the big idea of it, you know?
Yeah.
And through that, me being on stage, trying to promote a healthy lifestyle while I'm drunk on stage, I'm like, this isn't working anymore. You know, like, this is starting to not make sense. This isn't aligning, you know? And
We do that well.
my brother Corey, when he was getting out, he was coming home from where he was. The day before we're on a phone call the day before he gets out, and he's like, what's going on with you? You know, we hadn't talked in a few weeks, and he's like, how are you? You know, and I'm like, I'm not doing good, like, at all. Like,
Had you said that before?
no, I kept it in a lot. You know, the last year or so, I was talking to a friend yesterday about it. I got very quiet about it, and I got very, I didn't want to show that I was struggling, you know?
Yeah.
Like, a buddy was like, dude, we were hanging out and
Why
partying.
is
Everything
that?
was fine, and out of nowhere, you were just like gone. I was
Why
like,
is that? Did you not want to be looked at as maybe you looked at your brothers?
that would definitely be a part of it. I was definitely like looked at as the golden child, because both of my brothers were, you know, within addiction and,
Prison,
you know, activity
gangs
and
and all that
gangs
shit,
and,
yeah.
you know, all that. And like, it was like Casey needs to, you know, bring some light into this family, you know, and I wore that as a like badge of honor for a long time, you know.
But
so
what a hard mask to try to keep up.
You know, trying to keep it up, and I'm just a fucking human, you know. I'm like, you know,
not sustainable
I'm definitely
at
not perfect, and I've learned that through sobriety, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to me because I try to have this perfect shell of like musician and positive and like all that, and like that's not always the case, you know.
Yeah.
And I would mask behind that with, you know, it started with alcohol, and then it led to, you know, cocaine and, like I said, psychedelics and like whatever I could do to try to change how I felt that day. That was really what I was looking for. I knew I didn't want to do heroin or speed because I didn't want to be like my brothers. You know? I'm like, whatever that is, like, I'm like, I'm not going all the way. I know I missed out.
You had like super fuck up examples to look at. That's like that extreme.
Yeah, that was like, okay, that's the hard wall. That's a hard no. But I'll go all the way up to that, you know, all the way there. And like through COVID, it was just, you know, there was a bunch of people hanging around. We were playing a lot of music, and there was a lot of partying going on. That was the darkest time for me.
Yeah.
That was the time where I really went from like, this is fun, I'm still liking this, to the gamble. I was losing the gamble every day, you know? And I was in a dark place where I wasn't talking to anybody about it either. So I knew I needed to do something about it, you know? And I found myself on a Tuesday night on my couch with a Whip It can in my hand, and you know, like by myself on a Tuesday night.
Of course.
Oh,
The
Whip
wall
It's by
behind me,
yourself.
like my son sleeping in the room right behind me, you know? And I'm like, I just had a moment of clarity. I'm just like, I'm not gonna find what I'm looking for any farther, you know? And that was the day before Corey came home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, or the day before I talked to Corey, so 2 days before.
Wow. That was definitely a God moment, right?
God shot for sure.
Yeah, timing.
Yeah, and I told Corey about, so back to that call, I just said, Corey, like, yeah, I'm just not doing good, man. I don't know how to put it, you know, and it's hard for me to say that. And he's like, just go with me to that meeting, and it's going to be pure bliss, you know, and I don't know how to explain it, but it will be. And I'm like, whatever pure bliss is, let's go.
But were you thinking at the time, I'm going to go to this meeting to support you because you're a drug addict?
Yeah, I said Casey, Casey guest at that meeting.
Everyone's identifying.
Pulled
he's a
up
guest.
as a guest. They were like, I was like,
No, wait a minute. I just want to clarify. So the guy who's saying, Corey, the guy who's telling you, go with me
brother,
to this
Corey.
meeting, is actually saying this while in prison.
while in prison.
Yes.
Yep.
Corey
He's giving
Sullivan.
you the hope shot.
Yes.
He's giving
While
me the
he's
hope
calm.
shot from prison. Yes, exactly.
And he's the last one to know. Isn't that funny that we're always the last one to know? You know what I mean? That we have the problem, you know?
100%.
That's awesome. So
Well,
then,
but I would say that, like, for me, it was, I know that there's a lot of similarities, but for me, when I told all my friends that I was an alcoholic and I'm getting sober, like, most of my close friends were like, what do you, like, I don't see it, you know? And I was like, I know I wasn't in the gutter. Like, I still had my family, my house, my life, but I was in the gutter mentally and spiritually.
Yeah, of course.
you're a perfect example of what a bottom is. You know, you hear this a lot, you know, and it's a misconception. I think a lot of people come in and they stay out there because they think they hear of like people like your brothers, myself, and it's like, oh, prison and gang, all this crazy bottom, you know, destruction on the outside. But, and we go to, you know, we tell ourselves, or that's not me, but you might tell yourself, well, that I'm not that bad. And people look at that and think the same thing. But what is a bottom? What do you think a bottom is? I think a bottom is that moment that I can't take this anymore. And I'm at a
I agree with that,
crossroad.
Mike. I think it's, I can't use it and I can't not use it. You know, for me, it was like, I can't not drink.
Yeah.
And I also can't drink. Like I said, that gamble, like
Yeah.
it was like 5 out of 10 I would lose. And then it was finally got to this point. Every time I'd smoke weed, I'd have a, you know, panic attack. Every time I drank, I'd be hungover for 3 days.
Yeah.
Every time I did something, like I would call out of work. Like I just, you know,
Yeah.
it just wasn't working for me anymore at all.
Yeah.
And luckily, Corey said, he's like, you're lucky enough that like you were a little bit of an alcoholic to get to AA, you know, because
Yeah.
it changed your life, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like this crazy bottom for me.
But it was.
on the outside, but on the inside,
Correct.
it was the darkest place.
There
Like
you
just
go.
a quick backtrack. Before that, I had I started a clothing company. It was called Coffee in the Shower in 2015. And overnight, it was a crazy success. I sold 800 sweatshirts on Instagram when like nobody was doing that at the time. And so I started this clothing company. And at the time, like I was drinking, it was very like normal at that time. Like it wasn't dark for me.
Yeah.
But I started this clothing company, got in like the $1 million range, and I had a big like printing warehouse, and that's when it got dark for me because I was losing the company within about a year and a half that I started this thing, and I was super proud of it, and then it just started slipping. It wasn't part of the God's plan for me, and I couldn't accept that. So that's when I really started drinking and using and escaping that feeling of like trying to hold on to this company and this like brand that I had built, you know? So like that's where the darkness started because I was like trying to escape that.
Do you think you may have been trying to replace an outside thing that was making you whole, and when you were losing that one outside thing, which happened to be a company, you had to replace it with another thing on the outside?
It wasn't filling the inside of me that I was looking for.
Yeah.
You know, there was no spiritual.
Yeah.
Like when it was going away, I started getting hives on me, and like my dad actually came to me.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm going to the doctor. I got like hives on me or whatever, and he's like, God's not going to give you all that. He said this to me, and I remember it. He's like, God's not going to give you all this just to take it away. He's like, he might take this away, but he's not taking away your spirit. He's not taking away what you have. And I hadn't thought about God or like tapped into spiritual, and since I was like an altar boy as a kid, so it had been a long time, you know. So like,
You were an altar boy.
I was an altar boy, dude.
All the Sullivan
How many
brothers
times
were.
did the priest diddle you? Let's be real.
That's a different podcast, Mike.
I was gonna start beating off if you started talking.
Oh my
No,
God.
but I was teacher's pet, and
Let's not go there. Let's not do
that.
Let's not do that. I have so many
Okay.
on childhood. Keep
Okay.
going with that story. So you started drinking. That's when you replaced that one outside thing for the next outside thing, which happened to be alcohol.
Yep.
When you started doing that, did it work for you?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Yep. That's when it started working for me.
And what does that mean, working?
It started turning off my brain to where I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I wasn't thinking about this heartache of like losing this company or what are people going to think? What's my family going to think? What are all our customers going to think? You know, all this shit. Like all those thoughts just would get turned off and I could just zone out, you know?
Doc talks about that with feelings. He thinks this whole thing is the feelings, and we can't regulate our feelings, so that's why we use.
Well, we can, but we find them. We're not willing to. We find an easy way to manage our feelings. And I only speak from my own experience.
Yeah.
But after 19 treatments, countless detoxes, jail, blah 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 blah, losing all the stuff,
Banning your children.
all the stuff. Shut up.
It's a big moment right here.
Gee, you're banished from this studio. The only reason you're even here is because Michael Lynch.
Bye.
No, but the question I started asking myself is how come, every time I start using it, there's only one way it ends. Only one way it ends. I've never put on the brakes and said, this is getting out of hand. My wife's about to. No, I always wind up in an institution of some sort, whether it's jail, a hospital, getting the fuck beat out of me in the back of a car, in a detox, in a rehab center, whatever. Yeah. That is the way. I always run it into the ground. And I used to ask myself, why? And the why is because I'm an addict. That's the way it's going to go. Then I start asking myself, why do I take the first one?
Yes.
It's clear to me what happens. There's no fucking denial about this anymore. I have no delusion of a different outcome, but I will still do that. And for me, what I've just discovered in my 12-step work with Bruno and discussions with Michael, therapy, is that there are certain emotions I find intolerable.
Yep.
I find them intolerable, whether it's anger. You've seen me angry. I get angry enough, boy, I get all stupid.
Or like
shame,
him, loss of careers,
loss of
things.
career. Yeah, absolutely. I start, this self-image.
Where you can't accept it, right?
I can't accept it, and this is my present. This is my present.
Yeah.
We can talk all we want about goals and aspirations and this and that, but presently, I don't like this. And unfortunately, over the last 30 years, I have learned how to adjust those emotions very quickly, Tyson, very quickly and very effectively, if only for an hour. And that's what always leads me back to that one little, just, what, fuck it.
Yeah.
That's the last time it happened. Fuck it, I'm just going to have this beer. I don't give a shit. And then I'm crying and motherfucking him at 3 in the
Until you
morning,
get to that
a week
point
later.
that Casey's talking about, it used to work. But then we all get to this place. I think that's one of the common things with all of us, addicts, alcoholics, same thing to me. We get to this place where it worked, as you were talking about, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work.
And you're like, why am I still doing this?
So then what happened when you got to that place where it wasn't working?
I had to find the other solution.
Yeah. I
was
love,
time.
they mention it in the big book, and I agree with this. You get to a point, every addict, if you really, just because you have a problem with drinking doesn't make you an alcoholic,
Yes.
right? I do believe that. Or just because you like to party it up on the weekends doesn't mean you're an addict. But people who actually do struggle with this, like really struggle, they all will get to this point where I can't imagine my life for one more hour loaded, and at the same time, I can't imagine my life for one more hour not loaded. Holy fuck, what do I do now?
Yep.
And
On the
that's when
money,
I start
on the
thinking
money,
about,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
that's the moment where you have to make.
You have to make
have
it-
to find another.
And how
solution.
long after that feeling, that awakening, that man, I can't continue with or without drugs or alcohol? How long did it take?
That was my last time using.
Right then.
Yeah, I don't have any relapses in my story
That's
after
awesome.
I
Wow.
found AA. A lot of relapses before AA. A
Yeah,
ton.
oh, yeah.
I would get 30, 60 days, and I would tell my wife like, I'm just gonna have a beer,
I- yeah. Just one.
This is
Yeah.
getting
Just
weird,
one, yeah.
I can't handle all these emotions,
Yeah, right, no.
I can't accept life. I can't,
Yep.
all those things, all those things we learn, like that was exactly me. All these things where I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't accept that. Let's just cruise a beer and
Isn't it
see what
crazy-
happens,
Isn't it crazy? So this is my first date also. And I've analyzed this a lot because I don't want to be the person that's done it 30 times. And I for sure thought I would be because I'm the biggest fuck up I know. And I realized that for some of us, it doesn't matter, I think all of us, when we finally go into the 12 steps and do the 12 steps and do them how they are done, supposed to be done, not just the writing, but when we do recovery, that's the last time, as long as we continue recovery. Whether it took you 30 centers to actually get honest and do honest 12 steps or one, it's the same thing,
Yeah,
And
I
you're
agree.
so far one of those, which is awesome. How much time do you have right now?
I have solid 4 years.
Fuck yeah, a
Good for
solid
you.
4
Solid
years.
4 years.
A
Solid 4 years.
There's a date coming up in the future at some point where it'll be 5, but right now I have 4 years.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
And
I
then
But I
agree with-
definitely had in the middle of that run, I had a year where I kind of like was very not going to meetings and like trying to run off yesterday's work. And
what happened?
It was another dark moment in my life,
I've been there too.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
So what you were saying is like, yeah, you have to get it and then you have to continue doing it and continue sharing, Now
Yeah.
in 4 years I have 5 sponsees and, my life's better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
There's the
know?
proof, I think, if you're ever questioning if you're an addict or alcoholic or not, right there. Because the heavy drinker or heavy user, not the addict or alcoholic, would do enough work to get to that place where you're serene after coming in, and then you don't have to do anymore.
Right.
You're good.
Yeah. They got a good life.
Yeah.
They got a
Why
good life.
is it that when we are doing it, if we don't walk faster up that escalator that's coming down, we start going inwardly backwards? Right?
Isolating and again getting quiet to people
Yeah.
around me of what's really going on.
Yeah.
And the more I work, more I do what we do around here,
Yeah.
the more I can talk to more people about it. And then it's
Yeah.
not as serious. When I let it out of me, then it's like nothing.
It's
then I
not
can go
as
help somebody
serious.
else.
That's right.
So I've
Yeah, it's
seen
not
I've
as
seen
serious.
countless people come in for the first time and get this thing, serenity, and then stop doing the things that got us serenity. And it's rare that I've seen somebody get back into their recovery without changing their clean date. Very rare.
Yeah.
Because and I've been there a lot of times. And what is it that got you back into recovery without changing your clean date?
I shared at my 3rd year, and I said this past year 2 was the toughest year of probably my life. And an old timer in the meeting, what he said got me back in.
Which one?
I had shared, and I did just a weird share. Yeah, I'm stoked, stoked to be like sober, and like this is a weird year. Whatever. It was like that was it. And like one of the old timers, he's like, you said you haven't been to meetings in a while, right? And like this whole year. And he's like, I wonder why this was a weird year for you, And I was like, damn,
Profound mind blowing. I
don't know.
Stephen Hawking of AA.
I was like, it's kind of crosstalk, but
Yeah.
all right, But like, that's what clicked for me. I'm like, I don't want another weird year. I don't want another dark year. I don't want another quiet year. I want to be as loud as I can, and not as loud as I can, but I want to be as open as I can to helping myself and helping other people, and like make this take this as serious as I can so I can be less serious.
I like that. So when you say dark, what does dark mean?
Dark,
like suicidal?
For me, like I would call it depression and anxiety.
Okay.
Like it's more of like a depression state where I just don't talk to people around me about what's going on. Like I have to talk to people all day, call other alcoholics, call my sponsor, and just tell them what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, because like that's just natural. We all have different things that we have going on,
absolutely.
know? And like for me, it would be like not calling anybody, not praying, not meditating, and just like showing up to meetings maybe once a month.
Oh, wow.
And that's just, for me, there's no solution there.
Yep.
For me, I need either one or the other.
Yeah.
And like when I really work a program, it's like the same feeling as having a couple beers.
Yes, exactly. It's the replacement. We have to have the replacement of that spiritual void. And that's why I think bottoms don't matter, outside bottoms. I think the hole that we all have is that time we get there and we're like, we got this hole that the alcohol or drugs aren't filling anymore, or the businesses or the women or the outside things, it's not working.
Yep.
We must replace it. So we replace it with substances, right? And then when that doesn't work anymore, where's the replacement?
Right.
And
I've never felt as whole as when I'm doing this properly.
because God, it's a
Definitely.
I agree.
God-shaped.
Not even on a stage with thousands of people.
I agree.
And, like signing, like all that. None of that matters if I don't have that foundation first.
Fuck
At all.
Because it's a God-shaped void.
Exactly.
It's a God-shaped void, and,
Very
and the
well
only
put.
thing
Very
that
well put.
that fits it perfectly, I think, is God. And
100%.
however you find that, or it finds you, I believe, through the 12 steps.
Yep.
I think that is the equation that gets our own perfect higher power, God, perfectly within us, and it's those 12 steps that makes it perfect for us, I think.
Very well put.
Yeah. So do you find that when you got into recovery, because you had success prior to recovery,
I did.
It seems like you're one of those guys that everything you go after, you do well at, talented. Now that you're once you started doing recovery, did you see that even those things started to go better?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Not until like after year 3 though. It was a rough couple years. Like I got it and I didn't really totally get it. I got a sponsor and I worked the steps.
Okay.
And like I found this God of my understanding, but then I lost him, So like year 1 to 2 was like pretty good. I was just getting sober and like, I wasn't like hungover anymore, and I wasn't calling out sick, and I wasn't in a deep depression, but I still hadn't really found the gifts of the 12th step. I hadn't found the gifts of like humility, because I still thought I was the most important person in the room, and that's a dark place too.
Yeah.
So when I can walk in the room and I'm like, not like here I am, but I'm like, there you are, and like it doesn't, that's a good place for me to be.
Yeah, it's a lonely place on top. And we're not even on top.
Totally.
We think we are though.
Yeah, on the bottom, but I think it's the
we're
top.
on the bottom,
I want to
think
make
we're
you
on the
think I'm on the top,
That's right.
So once I really started help, like I think I was given the gift of a bunch of sponsees at once, just kind of came out of nowhere. A bunch of guys asked me at once. I'm hanging out with my brothers all the time. They probably want to be close to my brothers or whatever it was, or want to be close to music or whatever. But a lot of guys started hitting me up and wanting help, And at first I'm like, whoa, this is kind of a lot. And then I'm like, whoa, I'm kind of not thinking about myself that much anymore, And like I can lay my head on the pillow at night and be all right. So it just comes with doing the work.
Yeah, that's a weird thing that when I'm helping someone else, I'm not crazy. It's the craziest
That's
concept.
the gift. That's it
You know
right
what I mean?
there.
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
must have something to transmit. That's the thing, because I think we always transmit what we have. And I think that's why
whatever it is, right?
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Whatever
right.
that is, we transmit what we have. And that's why I think it's very important for us to be, I call it God-centered. I want to be God-centered. So when I'm coming across anything in life, that's what I'm transmitting, I hope, I think
And it's
I
usually the absence of me. That's
Yes.
like for God, like when it's coming to
100%.
God, like if I'm out of the equation, then things are probably going to really go good.
Yeah, I heard that when I first came. I said ego is edging God out. So when it's me, there's no God,
Right.
Because I'm God.
Yep.
It's hard though. You know, I don't know for you if it is or you, but for me, it's always an ongoing thing, man, of like, I won't notice that I edged God out and now I'm important again to me, you know, with whatever I'm trying to accomplish or my will that I'm trying to do. And then I get these feelings of anger, anxiety, depression, and those feelings are what I go, oh shit, God's not here.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? When did that happen?
The ego's smart, man.
Yeah.
He's not gonna let you know that he's fucking hanging out waiting for you. You know, like that's what I've found.
Isn't that
Like
wild?
I was talking to a buddy yesterday. Like, oh, he's like, I'm definitely like, I'm feeling pretty good right now. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be drinking or using anytime soon. I'm like, no, that's cool that you feel that way, but like,
Everyone in the room laughs because we all know.
There's what, 8 people in the room. We all laughed at that.
A
shit.
normal person, if they're a normie sitting here, they'd be like, that sounds good.
That sounds good.
no, it's sweet. Like, alcoholism, like, knows how to hide. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
he's not
for
like,
sure.
hey, here I am,
Yeah.
you're chilling. You know,
Yeah.
like that fool's hiding. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
waiting for you. You know, so that's why I just continue to do all this shit.
Do you
that
find it
the sponsor told
difficult
me.
for you? I would think it'd be difficult, man. Like, fucking, you're known now, dude. You fucking perform in big ass venues and fucking all this different shit. You're a rock star. And do you find it hard to keep your humility when you have so many people telling you how great you are?
I don't know. I have to walk on stage and hope that everyone hates me and it's gonna go good. Like
that what you
if I need to walk on stage and want everybody to like me, I'm probably not gonna be the authentic me.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna put on some facade, you know? I like before I walk on stage, I'm like, I hope everyone hates me, here we go. And then I
Wow.
can like be myself.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
It just kind of that's what works for me.
Holy
So
shit.
it could be like a 10,000 crowd or like 3 people. And like the 3 people crowd is the hardest one. You know?
That's wild. So you have conquered that thing that you don't care if you're liked when you walk on that stage.
I can't because I won't be able to perform if I do. I'm a perfectionist, you know, so I need everyone to love me. You know, I need everyone to like me at least.
Yeah.
You know, so if I need everyone to like me, I'm not going to be able to perform and put on a show that's going to be entertaining. You know, I'm going to be in the Casey show.
Got it.
So I have to get out of the Casey show and just
And
get
do
into
it for them.
Do it for them.
Wow.
You know, for whatever the crowd may be, it's like let's make this about them. You know.
Wow.
I'm not gonna act. I don't want them to actually hate me. I'm not gonna do things to
No,
make people
yeah,
hate me.
right.
But it's just like just to get out of myself. Just to get out of myself. Like
Yeah.
you know, I have to turn humility. So I look at it like
Service commitment.
I look at it like when I don't have humility, like my importance is 100. I'm taller than the clouds.
Right.
And if I bring humility into it, then I just come flat to the ground and I'm a 0% important. And that's when I can walk on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, when you're talking, I don't know. Has anyone in the room read any of the books by Father Brennan Manning?
No one in the
Bobby,
room
you
knows
might-
how to read but you.
I fucking,
Eric is very well versed
I'm
in
very,
this,
very,
actually.
very well
No,
studied.
fascinating
Molest me
story.
as a child.
Eric can't read.
They make an illustrated version.
They have a pop-up
They have a
version.
pop-up book
They have a
for me?
pop-up version for Eric.
That's the same way you learn to
No,
be a gynecologist.
this guy was a lifelong chronic alcoholic, Franciscan priest who got sober. Yes, he got sober in AA after living 3 straight continuous years on the street. Became a priest, and over the next 20 or 30 years, for the rest of his life actually, he did 2 things. One was he published absolutely remarkable books on spirituality. They're Christian books, but they're talking to the alcoholic.
Nice.
You can tell. And the other thing he did was he really struggled to stay sober. He'd get sober for a couple of years, publish a couple of books, and he wound up dying in 2013 of wet brain.
Probably because he was diddling kids.
Okay. Anyway.
Kenny, is it Franciscan? Is that a Catholic priest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't fucking.
Anyway, he wrote in his book Ruthless Trust about humility. It's the greatest passage. You have it posted. I gave it to you. You have the greatest description of humility. And what he talks about in humility is the truly humble I'm not humble, by the way. Let me just be clear about that.
We know, we're looking at the
True-
degrees behind you, bro. You know what I mean?
If you say you're humble, you're not
True
humble.
humility, a truly humble person doesn't have a great or a negative opinion of themselves. A truly humble person has absolutely no opinion of themselves.
Boom. Love that.
That it's all eyes out.
I love that.
No concern for their own well-being, no concern for whether they like me or hate me. I'm here to perform, period. Let's let it rip. And it just came to
Absolutely.
mind. So
Yeah.
even if, I'm not saying you're a master of humility, but it sounds like you're getting glimpses of it to me.
I got from that is that you're saying that he's reincarnated, he's the priest or something.
I was picking that up too. No.
Every week, Bobby, every week. I don't know why we have him in
Eric
the
is
studio.
definitely the most humble person in every room. He lets you know. You know what I mean? He lets you know.
So
Yeah.
So I always hang on to that one little thing when I think about humility. My wife says, "You're fucking arrogant," or something like that.
Yeah.
I always dial it down. I do. I simplify it and think to myself, what kind of am I thinking a little too much about me right
100%.
now? About the way I'm looking. Have you ever done it in a conversation with someone, right? You meet some, hot-looking woman, and you're talking, and the whole time shit's coming out of your mouth, and the only thing you're thinking about is,
Her tits.
do I look good? Is she? Do I smell good to her? That's all ego. That's all ego. I don't give a shit what she's saying. I don't give a shit what I'm saying. It's all about what do I look like. That's
When I
your
talk
ego.
to Dre, I think that I'm pretty humble because I'm of service. I'm always thinking I'm gonna let her suck my dick. You know what I mean? That's
You
service.
just treat him like shit.
Anyway,
Very humble,
we
very
could. I would like to go back a little
Yeah.
bit to the child. I mean,
For
we could talk
sure.
all day long, but
I
we
do
also
wanna
got
do
your
it.
brother
Altar
on deck.
boy.
Yeah.
But I want to get back into the childhood
Yeah.
and get up into the progression of the moment when you decided this is too much. I can't live with or without. I need something different.
Let's do it.
And I also want to see if your brothers tell the same story of childhood that you tell.
Oh,
It'll be a little bit different, but there's
So-
commonalities.
All right. So
same parents and your parents.
same parents.
Yeah.
Were they
Good
drinking
parents.
and using?
So I grew up in a household that my brothers were 5 to 10 years older than me, 4 to 8 or somewhere around there. So by the time I was 8 or 9, there was a lot of trouble in the household because my brothers were having issues. My dad wasn't accepting it. So there was a lot of tension in the household,
You were
at
the
all
baby,
times.
and you were the baby.
And I was the baby. So I was expected to hold it all together at a super young age.
Yeah.
This
'Cause
is
all the
before
atten-
music, before anything.
Because all the attention was on their
it was on them,
misbehavior.
yeah. So I was just like, I was trying to make everything work in the household, So like that was my role from 8 to
That's a heavy role.
super heavy role. I didn't know it at the time,
Yeah, of
but
course.
once I got older and sober and learned about all that, like that made me who I am as a man, and probably not in a good way.
sure.
It made my character defects. So I was living in a household that was high tension, a lot of yelling, a lot of problems, and I wanted to fix them all. So I started around 14 or 15. Like,
But prior to that,
Okay, let's
how
take
old
it.
were you when you were an altar boy?
I think I was 10.
You guys are so Irish Catholic. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was an altar boy, like Holy Family Church.
Wow. And so that's a big statement, like a really good boy. You know what I mean?
For
Were
sure.
you doing sports? Were you good in school?
Yeah, I was volleyball, football,
Good grades?
grades were good. Yeah, I was like I said, I was like the
Golden
child, and if I needed to be perfect so that everything, at least on my end, was going good, because I didn't want to bring down the ticker anymore on like what was going on with my brothers. So I'm like, I at least need to like keep this level or try to bring up the bar,
Okay.
And that got tough.
Yeah.
It definitely got tough.
And were your parents drinking back then?
My dad was, for
Okay.
sure. My
Okay.
dad, he'd drink a 40 on the way home from work, or he would pick me up and take me surfing every day after school. We always had a good, a good relationship as far as spending time together.
Mm-hmm.
But, he had a lot of tension around him with everything in his life. So, tension ran high when it came to
So basically,
emotions.
Tyson is the reason that your dad drank, and then Tyson. That's what I'm hearing.
Tyson's the reason I'm an alcoholic, okay?
Yeah, that everyone. So Tyson's the reason the whole family was using and drinking. But that's why it was Tyson's responsibility.
Let me get this across, though. It's not. It wasn't all my brothers.
I was joking.
No,
'Cause I
for
was
sure.
gonna-
But like, yeah, it wasn't all my brothers.
Yeah.
I don't really need to get into all that. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's character defects and there's personality traits
course.
that were coming through in my household as a young child
Yeah.
that, led me to you know, the depression and the anxieties and like, you know, the things ADHD or whatever, like, I was searching to get medication for when I wasn't doing good. Like that was what was coming out of me, you know, because I was trying to hold it all together.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so it was on Tyson's responsibility to actually get
exactly.
clean and then fucking bring that into the family since he
100%.
caused
The
it.
least I could do.
We appreciate you.
It came full circle. It came full circle. That's what it had.
Wow. So you started using and drinking what age?
Yeah, about 14.
Okay.
14, I started hanging with my buddies, going to Laguna Beach and smoking weed and taking acid and taking mushrooms.
Like
and,
a surfer's
you know,
life.
listening to Grateful Dead. And like, you know, I was going like the complete opposite way that my brothers were going. I was like, I'm not going to fucking tweaker pads. I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
I'm listening to reggae.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hanging out with hot chicks, you know, like.
They were hanging out with men most of their life in prison.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was like just a complete opposite,
Yeah.
you know? But around that time is when I started like not coming home. And then I was like, nope, no longer like the perfect child.
Did your grades start falling?
Grades started falling, you know?
No interest in sports anymore and stuff, or were you still?
Stopped playing sports.
Yeah.
Just got big into music and weed and drinking and psychedelics. That's like what I was doing, you know?
Yeah.
But like not to the point where it was like all bad. I was still like the kid with perfectionism. So I'm like doing a bunch of psychedelics, but I'm still perfect, you know? And like I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing on the weekends with my friends, you know? So that was like 15 to 20, and then I had a kid at 22, 23, you know? So that changed my life too, you know? Because at that point I was drinking a lot because I had started Seedless.
Yeah.
So we were touring, we were playing a lot of music, and I was using alcohol already to go on stage. You know, I was already kind of like, you know, the perfectionist thing. So like on stage, I wanted everybody to like me, you know? So like the alcohol relieved that where I didn't care. So I had that part of me that.
And you're in a relationship. Are you married yet?
I was in a relationship at the time. So that's, so my son lives in San Diego with his mom. And then my wife, Katie, we have another child and he's 9 now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 sons.
Okay.
But my first son, he changed my life because I was like, okay, now I have responsibility again. Like I remember who I was when I was a kid, like holding up a family, and I had like, you know, I lost that. I lost that. So got that back, and that started like bringing me back to this place where I am now. You know, instead of like going in the opposite direction, maybe ending up at some point exactly where I didn't want to land. Like it just kind of turned my life into a trajectory where I wanted to be a leader again.
And that was at 20. And how old were you when you got clean? Or
35.
35.
35.
Wow. So you were going in and out, and you're having success and all of this stuff.
Yeah, 15 years of fucking hell, to be honest. Like it really was. Because I knew where I wanted to go, but I kept using and drinking.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the hardest 15 years of my life.
Do you think that stumped some of you were successful even while you were drinking, one would say, but do you think that you were held back to what potential you could have even done?
Of course. I would shy away from certain rooms, or I would shy away from certain successes because I didn't believe I you know, deserved it.
Yep.
You know, I would have imposter syndrome because I knew I was smoking too much weed, or like, you know, like I didn't have the confidence that I needed, you know, or I'd be too hungover and I'd cancel something, or, you know, it was just always like something around using and drinking that would hinder me from getting into the next room where I needed to be.
Wow.
You know, as a successful musician. Now I don't have any of those barriers, so that's why I'm walking into rooms like, yo, what's up? There you are, you know? And then we can have conversations and I can help people and then they can help me and we move forward.
I wonder if that's because you now don't believe that you're the one walking into the room for you, that maybe this might be. I believe everything we do.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I believe it's God.
Yep.
And I think that that's why I'm able to personally, any room I'll walk into, because it's not my room, it's God's room, and whatever the results are God's results, and it doesn't fucking matter what they are.
I'm not turning the lights on in that room. You know, I'm not running I used to run the light show and be on stage at the same time. You know? I don't run the light show anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
I like that. And so so since then, I'm sure you've done a lot of work on like, you know, your childhood and what got you there and all of that different stuff. And,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think having that awareness, when that child comes back, that trauma, I always say the traumatized little boy making adult decisions. And I think that awareness when it comes, I don't have to act on that anymore, whether it's through fear or whatever it is. You know?
It'll crop up, and then you know I have tools. I have the toolkit that I know what to do, and you know if it's humility or if it's calling another guy, or if it's knowing that it's an emotion and it's gonna pass.
Yeah, there you go.
Know?
Yeah.
Like you know, emotions are like most of the time I'm like, all right, you're not even real.
What a fucking crazy concept. That was one of the
because
craziest concepts.
You would take that for a 2-week run,
Bro,
you know?
I must take an action. My biggest crazy thing was I always thought for some reason I get an emotion, I must take action on emotion.
Right.
Yeah. Emotion, where's the action? I got to find the action, do the action. Come to find out, I don't have to take any actions and they'll pass. Fucking mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Unreal.
So where do you, now that you're like on this like spiritual journey and it's showing itself in your careers and your life, you know, what are your goals next, or what are you looking at?
Right now, I have goals in my personal life, and because I work in advertising for the treatment space. Okay. So I run ads, and I work for a marketing company. I'm not in the treatment space, but we run advertising for the treatment space. So I've always wanted to be in advertising. I've always wanted to be in marketing, and it's exactly the job that I've always wanted. Wow. Day job, you know, it's what I do now. Yeah. So I want to continue to grow in that, and you know, honestly, it's like let God, you know, lead me to the next place. But I literally am super grateful for exactly where I'm at today.
Yes.
Wow.
In my professional life.
Okay.
And then as far as my musician life, I have huge dreams and goals. You know, I want to play at Red Rocks. There's like dreams and goals, but for me, as like actually what I'm doing is I'm finishing an album right now. Okay. So I have, you know, 10, 12 songs out, and they're all doing well, and I'm gaining a ton of fans each day on all the platforms. I have all the marketing going, and
I've
it's
been watching
working
that.
really well.
Yeah.
You know, so
what's the name of the album?
It's going to be called Orange Land.
Orange Land?
Orange Land, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Why?
He just did a song with Snoop Dogg's son.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've been doing a bunch of collabs. You know, I'm working on next things. I know, you know, Kyle Smith. So me and Kyle are working on stuff.
Yeah. He was on our podcast.
Yeah. So
he's
we talk
another
all the time.
talented guy, dude.
Kyle's a super humble guy. He's a special dude.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Just put out a song with Dan Kelly from Fortunate Youth. I just did a song with his name's Carter, but he goes under Surfer Girl, and he's huge in the industry too. So I'm just doing a bunch of co-writes and a bunch of songs to get like collabs with bigger bands, so we can all help each other. You know. Nice. So the next step for my solo career is getting on bigger tours and touring with, you know, big bands to where I can play before them, and we can all share fans, right? Yeah. And just continue to make music that's gonna be of service to my fans. That's really like the main goal, is like, how can I change my fans' moment or day or life with the music that I make? That's really my main goal with it. And
that's awesome.
I get to do that with my solo career with Burritos, which is a Sublime tribute band. It's like a built-in crowd, and everyone knows the words, and we can go anywhere in the nation and play a show, and it's a crazy party, and everyone's having a great time.
Good. You guys are so good at that.
Thank you.
shit, dude.
Appreciate that. You know,
I want to shout you out. We did years ago. There's a foundation. I was part of Spark. And it's a foundation for women that are being sex trafficked on fentanyl. It's actually the foundation that brought Eric into our community right here. Wow. And you helped kick off that foundation with us, and you performed at one of our events that we did.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
I
Eric.
remember
That was a rad event.
Yeah.
Great day.
And, and isn't that funny? And then
Got you, Eric.
and Eric is one of the results. He's
Eric?
a bad result, but he's still one of the results.
Yeah,
I don't know if I should be proud or.
Yeah, I know.
Now I feel bad.
I'd like to say, as a woman who was sex trafficked, I'd like to say.
So so that's a lot that you're doing, bro. So you have this marketing company, which would consume most people. What did he say? What did he say?
One of the first people you guys saved was a sex trafficker.
We missed the mark there a little bit.
He doesn't like to be referred as his own.
Facilitator of adult services.
Facilitator of adult
Director of sexual development.
Well, here was our theory behind that. If we get Eric off the streets, you know how many women's lives are going to change to the benefit?
I love that take.
That's a great take.
Okay.
So
Back to
back to reality. So having your marketing company,
Yeah.
that alone would consume most people's lives.
So
Then also you have your whole musical career, which that alone would consume most people's lives. Then you have a family, and you're a good family member, and you guys have a big, you guys' family, I love your guys' family, Sullivans. You guys are like a really tight-knit Irish group. And then you have AA, and you have your meetings, you have your steps, you have your service, you have your sponsees that consume a lot of time. That is a lot that I just described, right?
yeah.
Why do you think that all works that way?
Well, first, the foundation, the AA foundation, I wouldn't have any of the rest of it if I didn't have that AA foundation first, God first. You know, like if I put that first, everything else becomes first class, and it's showing in my life. You know, if I put that first, then I get to have the job, I get to have the musical career, and I get to do both at the same time, and I don't have to cut my hair to go into the office. Like, yeah, I get to like live the life that I want to live because I'm doing that first.
Yeah.
And I think the answer to your question is, when I grew up, I was carrying so much weight at the time that I was like a fucking magician, you know, at 9 years old, you know, juggling my dad's emotions and my brother's fucking, you know, hiding what they're doing and all this. Like, so I built for that. I'm built to manage a lot of shit at the same time, you know, and through that clothing company I told you about, I learned a bunch of like systems that I built, you know, and spreadsheets and shit like that, where like I got really like alcoholically into it, you know, to where I can manage a lot of shit, and like, and it's possible. But if I don't have the foundation, none of that works. Like, I'm in my head, I drop, they all fucking land on the floor, you know. But when I'm like tuned in and I'm, you know, God's taking over and I'm not in control and Casey's out of the room, right? Like, we're just juggling and it's cruising.
You know what I think? I think that I don't think God caused or allowed the trauma to happen to all of us. And what you're talking about is trauma as a child. And I don't think that God had anything to do with it. I think that man does.
Sure.
And at the time, and I bet at your time in your life when you were a kid and you were feeling those feelings you were feeling, as I did when I was a kid, I would have never thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be glad that that stuff happened to me.
I didn't either.
And I didn't think that any good could come out of it other than self-sabotaging myself.
Exactly.
But I believe through the 12 steps that only God can use those things that happen and bring glory to our lives, and those things that were deficits are actually our strongest points on why we're able to do things that other people aren't really capable of.
100%.
Isn't that a wild thing?
Yeah, I always thought it was my biggest downfall was everything that happened to me.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And then through the steps and working my amends and fourth and fifth step and realizing that it wasn't all their fault and I had a part in it, you know, and finding my part in it and finally realizing, like, okay, I'm not mad at all these people as much as I think I am, you know, and I have a part in it, and I have a way, and I have a solution to actually fix it on a daily basis too. And realizing that that was actually for me what happened, you know, because it created this person that can handle so much shit.
Yes.
You know?
It's a gift now.
It was a gift.
Isn't that wild?
Yep. Yep.
No one would ever have thought that some of these things would be gifts until God uses them to help people through us. It's the wildest thing to me, you know? That's awesome, dude. Well, you want to shout out?
Please.
Shout out
Anything.
all your stuff.
This is your camera right there.
Cool.
Shout it all out.
Where can we find you?
Okay, you can find me. It's casey.smiles on Instagram. You can find my Sublime tribute band. It's Burritos the band. Casey Smiles Music. And then Sweet Media Services is the marketing company. And then Null Family Foundation is the foundation for helping musicians struggling with opiate addiction. And I want you to find yourself instead of finding me, because it's not all about me. So I want you to find your solution. That's it.
All right.
Damn, that was a good ending.
That was a good ending. Yeah. Thank you.
That's why he's a professional. That's why he's a fucking professional.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you're
you
a
so
fucking
much.
fraud.
Thank you.
Go with that humble shit.